Everyone, this is GSG, rocking the gray shirt as always. Slightly darker shade of gray though, but it works. So, Warhammer 40K Wednesday, episode 5. Probably the last episode of 2016 that I know of. What are we going to do? We're going to talk about the state of my army and what's going on behind me. And the pretty much state of Warhammer 40K as it is as far as I'm aware. Now, so the army's getting packed up. No new models are going to be painted as far as I know. I haven't bought any new models. Deathwatch is pretty cool, but I'm not sure if I'd ever really get Deathwatch. Maybe a squad in sometime in the future, but I don't ever really plan on making a Deathwatch army. New Crusade stuff looks pretty cool. I'm kind of digging the new Chaos stuff. I really haven't spent a lot of time getting into it. Don't have any of the rule books because I really was trying to save some money. Yeah. State of the army, you know, everything's looking pretty good. So basically the three things that I'm really hoping that are going to come out in the next year, at least within the next year, within 2017. 8th edition. I want 8th edition because I skipped. Did I have a 6th edition? I had a 6th edition. I have a 6th edition codex, but I skipped 7th because I really haven't played in a while. I'm hoping 8th edition comes out because I want a new codex. I don't want to use an old codex. So I'm hoping 8th edition comes out. Under rulebook, not codex. I would love more guard stuff. I always love more guard stuff, whether it's supplement, campaign, something. I always love more guard stuff. Plastic Sisters of Battle. If Sisters of Battle were re-released, I would drop like $2,000 right now. And I know there's a lot of people out there, a lot of people I know in the community would drop some serious coin on some Plastic Sisters of Battle or Sisters of Battle revamp. Definitely some plastic ones. And I don't know anything. I don't have any rumors. I don't get anything. I just got one of those feelings, kind of like that Half-Life 3 feeling where you're like, fuck, I didn't get it. But anyways, so what's going on behind me? Now, back in July, I ordered these two cases. Now, they were doing a 4th of July sale, and let me say, I've used Battlefoam cases before. I'm not sponsored by Battlefoam or really anybody, but I've used them before, and I really like them. And there are other case manufacturers for Warhammer and miniature cases, but I decided to go back with Battlefoam, mostly just because they had a nice configurator on like Imperial Guard kind of setups. But we're going to go through the product as I got it. Now, it was about 6 to 8 weeks from when the product from when I ordered the product to when the product shipped, which made they explained that when I did the order. They were like, yo, we got a lot of orders going on. It's going to be about 6 to 8 weeks before your order ships out. And then it was about another month to about another 6, I think it was about 6 weeks from when it shipped out to when it showed up. Showed up today. I was a little worried it wasn't going to show up, but it did show up, so good to go. Not a problem there. And pretty much within an hour of taking everything out of the box, my army was packed up and ready to go. So let's get into it. I'm going to show you what one of these cases look like, and then we're going to show you what the foam trays look like, and then we'll just kind of wrap it up with a conclusion. So these are what the cases look like, and we got where we go? We got this nice, sweet front pocket right here, and good for putting a rule book or two in there. Toss that iPad in there. What do we got? Oh, there it is. So it's got double zipper. Double zipper. So we got 2 zippers. Boom. Yes. Slower. No. Alright, so big open compartment. It's a big void. Put all your foam in there. It's going to be good to go. I don't know if it's hard cardboard or wood. I think it's probably like, it might be MDF. I don't want to tear it open to find out. But it's got a pretty rigid bottom. And then, now, what the pack series does is they have a zipper here, which if you want to put, they have other cases and other things you can put on top, like another 1 or 2 levels. So theoretically, you can stack pack cases on top of each other. Not this one, because the bottom is wheeled. But the other pack case is the one that strap carry. Theoretically, you can just keep stacking and stacking and stacking, but who's going to do that? I don't have enough room. This is the Molly loadout. So if you're in the military and you understand what Molly is, or if you're just kind of an airsofter and you've seen Molly before, or you know, an enthusiast of military technology, Molly is some pretty sweet. It's a pretty sweet harness system. It's great for like latching a gas mask onto the side of things like gas mask carrier, some magazine pouches. You know, put a gun, put a magazine on the side. So if you're playing some Warhammer in some pretty dodgy neighborhoods, you know, strap a piece on the side of your case, good to go. Now, honestly, I don't know what you would actually ever use this for. Dice bag. Yeah, yeah. Pretty much, I think it's about great idea. First aid kit, dice bag, lunch pack. That's a good idea. So we got both sides. Got a bunch of Molly on both sides. A little bit of Molly on the back. What I honestly think is I think they might have got a sale on some Molly fabric. Because these aren't that much more expensive than the non-Molly version. So, yeah. Case looks good. Seems pretty sturdy. Comes with a telescoping handle. I love that. One of them didn't really come out very well. But it's kind of like give it a little bit of work. You know, a little tug in action. It works out great. It's got some pretty good wheels. They're not rotating, but that's fine. Little double wheels going on. Double wheel. Double zipper, double wheel. And we got some posts. And it stands up pretty well. So, no problem with those. I'm pretty satisfied with those, and I got two of them. Reason why I got two is because my army, the models are of various sizes, and so it all wouldn't fit in one, so I went with two. And, yeah, let's go into my kits, and we'll just kind of go through these one by one. And so, for my infantry, I got two different size trays. This one is more of a Space Marine style tray, because the Imperial Guard don't have a specific infantry tray. They just kind of got a different infantry. Now I have some infantry that's taller than other ones, slightly larger characters. So I went with a Space Marine one, and then I went with a normal smaller infantry one for the other one. So it's kind of how they sit in there. I did have to break. Now there was plenty of room in the other cases. I didn't really have to break these, but I wanted all the infantry kind of together. So I did break a little bit of this off. It's just teared it a little bit. It's got the jump pack infantry. Everything's fitting fine. No problem. Flag fits in there just well. And what you're going for is you want to make sure that you got a nice, so you don't see any models when you do this. Because that's what you're trying to achieve. The whole purpose of buying this is to make sure that they're tall enough to where they just kind of sit flush. Because if you got something sticking up, the tray above it's going to sit down into it, which may or may not damage your models, depending on how jostled around or heavy the things on top are. So to avoid that, you want to make sure you get plenty of, you know, good. And this is perfectly fine for Space Marines. It should fit. Like I think I got a heavy flamer Blood Angel in here. Yes, they're purple, but it's fine. Whatever. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Yeah, they just sits in there. No problem. It sits in one of the smaller ones. Now this is more of a kind of a smaller infantry. You probably put Space Marines in here. Maybe not the newer side Space Marines, because the newer Space Marines have the larger bases, but 28mm should fit in here just fine. It's got some longer ones and some shorter ones. I just have all my guardsmen standing up inside here. And I got plenty of extra room for more guardsmen or other characters I might want to just kind of slide in here. Maybe if I get a kill team at some point, I'll just put them in here. And, yep, painted, not painted, just kind of threw them in there. So, infantry's fine. The army doesn't really have a lot of infantry to begin with. It's mostly. It's got a platoon with six squads, and then it's got some special characters and everything. So it's not really infantry heavy. It's more armored than infantry. But but I think I don't know if I have any room. I don't think I have any room for more infantry unless I buy a pack additional, which is a good idea. Like with the pack cases, since you can zipper on another one on top of there. So if you buy one of the other pack cases that's got the zipper on the bottom, I think they would work really well for getting for adding infantry and still being able to use Battlefoam cases. So it's a good idea. It's not a bad idea, actually. I might actually do that. Oh, it just gives me another excuse to buy more models. The struggle is real. All right, moving on. Because I'm running out of daylight. All right, so I have 3 Leman Russes and 3 Wyverns. I say Wyvern. I think that's how it's pronounced, but I'm not 100% sure. It's good shit. Wyverns fit in here, no problem. Well, I mean, they fit in here flush, and the back of the front of the Wyvern and the back of the Wyvern, you got to kind of like, no, it doesn't just drop right in. You got to kind of ease it in there, which you'd want to do anyways, especially with the back of the Wyvern having that little gun platform. It's not super glued. The glue that is on there, you don't want to snap or bend that. So just kind of like set it in there. It sits in there nicely. As far as the way Leman Russ is sitting here, it's a little different though. I'm going to angle this camera down for this portion. So as far as Lehman Russes go, I got these dozer blades, which I'm going to magnetize these. That's why they're not on. I want to paint them separately. As far as getting the Lehman Russes in here, I didn't magnetize any of these options. Magnetizing would make this whole process a lot easier. So I didn't magnetize anything, but I do have the turret swivel on top. So I found out if you try to stick it in here like this, it won't fit right. I mean, you can set it in there, but then your turret kind of doesn't really, I'm not, I mean, it'll sit in there. I'm just not feeling super confident about that. But I found out if you take this turret and you flip the turret around to kind of not straight back, but kind of at an angle, if you see that, and you take your say I put a las cannon on here, so this is the longest you're going to find this. If you turn that las cannon a little bit, and then you just kind of sit it in there. I mean, you can manipulate the foam a little bit when you're pushing it in there. Once you get it in there, it'll just sit pretty. It sits fine, and I don't think it's going to cause any damage to any of the models. As long as you get a little bit more, foam room, you'll be good to go. So Lehman Russes, this will be great if you had 6 Lehman Russes. If you didn't have side sponsons, it'd be even better. But side sponsons actually fit in here just fine. So there's no issues with side sponsons. I feel like this is a good foam cutout, especially for Lehman Russes and Wyverns. So good to go. All right, moving on. So we're going on to the Chimeras now. Now there's a lot of the Imperial Guard kits have Chimera slots to put Chimeras in other ones, but this one's specifically for 6 Chimeras. I think this one is 6 Chimeras or 6 Tauroxes. But what I recommend is, so what I did with these is I made sure like the drivers have like ridiculous stuff. Like this guy's got a bolt pistol and a flag. Like, yeah, it's crazy. So I put the drivers over here, and I put the Chimeras actually in here, and they sit just fine. The only thing I had to do was for the turrets. If you face the turret straight, it'll press up against this foam. So what I did is I just turned the turrets just a little bit. You can see that they're slightly turned. And I put these on top here because I plan on painting these. I'm gonna batch paint these when I get an airbrush after I move. Because I want to paint all the tanks with an airbrush, but I don't have an airbrush here. And I didn't want to buy a 220 airbrush when I'm going to a country that's 110. So anyways, I think it's 120 actually. But either way, I didn't want to buy a 220 airbrush, and I didn't want to use a converter. So, yeah, Chimeras fit, no problem. Good to go. Moving on. So, here we got an issue I ran into with my basilisks. Now, I think the company's got a different basilisk configuration aside from this one. But what I ran into with my basilisks is if your gun, so I'll show you what I'm talking about. So we got Earthshaker cannon. Now, if I slot this in here, and you see, so my gun is at the highest point of elevation, and this doesn't add any additional length. I mean, like almost nothing, but you can see there's a ton sticking out. If you had the gun at a lower level of elevation than fully up, like if you had gun more point and level, then this notch right here would be fine. But the problem is my gun is pointed as high up as possible. So if your artillery pieces are aiming straight up, they're not going to fit in here. This isn't tall enough for it. So you're going to run into the same issue I did. But since I have removable barrels for transportation and for swapping out with my makeshift ghetto Medusa barrel here, it'll fit just fine. Now also, this being flipped around like this, the stairs actually don't fit very well if you flip it around the other way. This groove is perfectly good for those stairs, so it worked out. Now what I don't like about it is if you see, it's bowing on the sides. Now what I did is, these are only wide enough for the Chimera body that the Basilisk is based off of. They're not wide enough because I put stuff on the outside, like I put bags and I put whip antennas and I put like gas cans and other things on the side. So that adds extra width to the model. Now since it adds extra width, I don't think it's gonna break anything. It should be fine, but it's definitely not ideal. And I don't want to remove the stuff off the side of the tanks because I think they look really good with it. So it's kind of one of those things where it's like, if you didn't put things on the side, they should fit even better, but they definitely do not fit if the guns are all the way up. So if your guns are not all the way up or they're removable, good to go. As far as these pieces back here, these are heavy weapon slots. They're supposed to be able to fit like a bunch of heavy weapon teams stacked on top of each other, which I think they will. Like auto cannons and las cannon teams should fit no problem. You'll be able to put at least 2, maybe 3 in here. Now I got a little fancy. I put a little flag on top of a mortar team. So I think mortar teams, you'd probably be able to fit 2 mortar teams stacked on top of each other. But since I got a flag here, but it sits in here no problem. So that I don't have any problem with the way the heavy weapon teams are loaded out in any of the Battlefoam kits. They drop in no problem. They come out easy. It's just the Basilisk. I don't like how it's. They maybe what I was thinking. What they could have done is they could have put like heavy weapons in the center, like maybe 4 heavy weapon teams instead of 8. Put 4 in the center. Put the Basilisk in the 4 corners, but like kind of made them a little closer, and give them a little bit more side room. But I mean, it works, and we'll see how it works in transport. Because the side of the case, the side of the Pack 20, it's rigid, but it's got a little bit of give. So I think it'll fit no problem. Actually, this will be the front and the back. So the front's got a little bit of give. So I think we should be fine. It shouldn't be that huge of an issue. I just wish it was a little moved around a little bit differently. I think they have another configuration where the Chimera actually sits on its side. And that might actually be a little bit better, but I can't remember where it was. So when I found this one and I was doing the configurator, I think I went with this one because I couldn't find the other one. But yeah, I'll move on. I'll show you my. So we got the Vendettas. Now here's an issue with the Vendetta. In the picture that the website has, you should be able to put the base of the Vendetta onto the Vendetta. Now. I couldn't figure out how to get it in there, so I ended up putting the bases in a different container, I had a different pouch somewhere, so I ended up putting the bases in a different pouch. But if your bases are easier to disassemble, like if the stand is maybe magnetized to the base and then slots into the flyer, you could probably fit it in there a little easier. But I glued my bases to mine, so it's a little harder to deal with. I did end up sticking my Aegis defense line in here because I had extra room. Toss the Chimera in here. Chimera fits no problem. I think a Lehman Russ would have fit in here easily too. And we've got definitely another heavy weapon team. So if I can totally load up on more heavy weapon teams if I wanted to. Good to go. All right, let's move on over. So we're gonna move on over to the Baneblade now. Now, as far as the Baneblade is concerned, the Baneblade comes in like I think 2 different heights. I definitely got 2 different heights with mine. Now, the issue I ran into is even though this is the shorter height, but even I tried putting this in the one that was taller, and on the Baneblade on the top turret, I put the 2 whip antennas on top here. And the problem is if I put the whip antennas, even with the taller one that's like 5 inches tall, I think, the whip antennas are still too high, which is really unfortunate because I was hoping that the taller one would have fit to where I would have been able to leave this on here. Now, it didn't. But since I made this into an Octablade, which is every single variant of Baneblade that you can use, I just put all the spare parts in this side compartment. Now, they do have foam plugs to where, say you only had one Baneblade and you weren't using the other one, you can just put a foam plug here. And all the kit came with all the foam plugs, so good to go. I got some extra spots for putting some of these barrels, so if I want to take this barrel, put that barrel in there. I put this barrel in there. Good to go. But definitely like the way the Baneblade fits. Baneblade fits really well. So we're moving on to the Forge World models I have. So here's the thing. I got these 2 Makaris Vanquisher super heavy tanks. They didn't have, and I was looking through and I couldn't find a perfect foam layout for Forge World stuff. They had Horus Heresy stuff, but I couldn't find one for this specific model, so I wasn't really sure what to do, so I just decided to go with the Baneblade kit. And the box, they come with a lot of extra foam pieces, so I'm going to stick those foam pieces in here. So it should be good, nice and snug, but as far as right now, they kind of move around because the Vanquisher is smaller than the Baneblade. But if you got 2 Vanquishers, this will work fine. Just fill in some extra packing material in the side. You should be good to go, but they'll definitely fit in here. And this is the slightly taller one. So if you put some aerial antennas, as far as the Vanquisher goes, it doesn't come with any extra antennas. But you could. I was thinking about maybe like mounting an aftermarket whip antenna that go from like back here to like stick across the front. I think it would look kind of cool. But this will fit no problem with your Vanquishers. There's a little bit of extra room, so fill it in as you need. And then the last thing, which I have an issue with this. So this is the Imperial Knight kit, foam piece for the Knight, and it's supposed to be able to fit 2 Knights. Now it will fit 2 Knights, but it will not fit. It will not fit 2 Knight Wardens if you glue everything together. So what I ended up running into. So this is where I ended up putting my flyer bases because I couldn't figure out how to put them underneath the Valkyrie, and I probably just I'm kind of tired, so that might be why I'm not doing it. But so what I ended up having to do is I modeled this a while ago where they separated because I wasn't sure how I was going to end up shipping it. Now, if you put it back together and I try to stick it in there, it is just, because of the missile pod on top, it is just like a 1/4 of an inch too tall. So if you have a regular Knight, it'll fit in here no problem. If you have a Knight Warden, like for the guys that got the Renegade kit with the 2 Knights, this will not work unless you magnetize the top if you want to fit 2 Knights in here. And since I only have 1 Knight, and I have it take a part of the torso, I decided to put the bottom piece on one side and the top piece on the other side, so it works out fine for me. But just to let you guys know that if you end up having 2 Knights and you want to use this, if any of them are Knight Wardens with the missile pods on top, if this is magnetized and this is removable, you're good to go. You're fine, no problem. If this is not removable, you're going to run into an issue where it's not tall enough. So I definitely recommend you taking that into account. Now, they may have a Warden version that's slightly taller, but I don't remember seeing a Warden version when I bought this. This was back in July. So just you know, look for that when you when you're doing your shopping. I'll just slide this bad boy back in here. He's so pretty. It's a little snug to get this bottom in here. And this might work for, I don't know, I don't, is the Knight base the same base as the Riptide? It might be. I'm not 100% sure. I don't have any Tau models anymore. Whew. Anyways, all right. So we're gonna get this. So I'm pretty much just gonna put all this foam back in here, and I have a. I got a Space Marine Librarian Dreadnought. This is so. He seems so small in this case, but he's just snug sitting in there. I put a little bit of extra foam pieces in here. So yeah, we'll put this all in here, and we'll put this away, and then set this down. All right. So, yep, that's pretty much it for the episode in review. So, not really a lot really going in painting or Warhammer, as in, you know, engaging actively in the hobby. And I probably won't really do a lot of Warhammer stuff until I move and I get settled in and I get back into painting. But I'm definitely keeping a pulse on the news, on the Facebook groups, and on the various rumor sites. I'm hoping 8th edition is going to come out. And hope you guys are enjoying Warhammer 40K. And if you guys want to subscribe, there won't be a lot of Warhammer content for a while, but I definitely got other stuff on my channel. Mostly World of Warcraft stuff, but I do post some other stuff. And definitely with my trip, I might even post some hunting videos if I can get my configuration set up on my rifle. If I can get my GoPro mounted on my rifle, I might do some hunting videos. But obviously, I wouldn't post videos if I didn't get a deer or a boar or something. So like. May or may not. I don't know. We'll see how that works out. But, yeah. As far as the Battlefoam case is going, I love them. I hope the Basilisk issue with not having a lot of give on the side because I put stuff on the side, I hope that's not going to be an issue. I don't think it's going to be a big deal. I think once it sits in there and it's all sealed up, and because these are going to go into a box. They're not just going to ship by themselves. They're going to be shipped in another box. I think it shouldn't be a big deal. I shouldn't have any damages, but, you know, I'll do a video when I get to Korea and I open these up, and if there's any damages, I'll be like, well, this didn't survive. But I really don't think, I think everything's going to be good. I think everything's going to be fine. But as far as I'm concerned, my overall review with definitely the Pack series and the Battlefoam series is positive. It's not a cheap product. It's definitely... I mean, as far as like a gaming accessory, it's kind of up there in cost compared to other alternatives like bubble wrap or just buying a Tupperware container. But as far as keeping your models really, really protected, I definitely recommend it. If you're trying to save some cash, They do have sales throughout the year, so just kind of keep an eye on the website if you're trying to save some really save some money. We could wait for a sale, but I definitely recommend picking them up if you want to. If you want to keep your models nice and tight. This should last me. This pretty much is gonna be the case for this army going forward, and the fact that I can add extra additions on top just by zippering them on, definitely like that. I think that's a really good idea, and these should store really well. So yeah, that'd be pretty much the end of the video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you guys are having fun with Warhammer. And yeah, if you guys want to check out Battlefoam, go check out their website. I just Google it. I think it's battlefoam.com, but I'm not 100% sure. So just throw that Battlefoam in the old Google and let the browser be. Let the browser do your walking for you. Give it a look out. Anyways, hope you guys are having a great day. Hope you guys are having a great week. And if I don't see you again until 2017, happy wargaming. Goodbye.